Hi, good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Florencia.
Hi, Sean.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Eric.
Eric, I thought I had my name to display. This is Susan. I'm a member, but
Hi,
somehow
Susan.
I guess my name didn't come up.
I see it when you're speaking, it pops up underneath
Oh,
your
okay.
picture. It does.
Yeah, I see it too.
Hi, Eric.
Oh, it doesn't show from my end.
Um,
Hello, welcome.
Hello, it doesn't look like it's showing. Is it showing my name? There we go.
it is.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good,
Great. How are you?
you?
Good, thank you. So is this the Sean?
I'm Sean.
Hi.
Hi. So,
Finally, it's good
so
to
nice
finally
to
put
meet
a
your
face.
face.
Likewise, great to finally put a face to the voice.
Same. Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
Eric is one of the co-chairs of this committee. His other co-chair, Ornella, will be on shortly, and they're going to really run the show. And Eric, when Ornella pops on and you are ready, you'll let me know. We are streaming. I'm not recording yet, but so say when.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Ornella.
And hopefully you can come back to the office next week. I'm there all week.
Okay, I will. Yeah, you got out just before the cold winds blew in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I left this morning. It was already getting pretty dreary and windy. And Kevin, do you have a hard stop this evening? Did I catch an email that you've got something else on your plate?
Not too hard.
Okay,
How far are we looking?
that's a good enough answer.
Yeah. How long do we
get you-
typically go? I'm sorry, I didn't
oh,
forgot to check.
We'll get you started as quickly as possible, and then stay as long as you'd like, but don't stay against your will.
How long are we going actually? Or planning on going? Or is it open-ended? 6:30 to...
Well,
We usually do. Go ahead, Eric.
I was just gonna say you're first up on our agenda, so you know, where however long you go, we'll go, and then we have some business after you. We are doing our preliminary meeting for the Community Board 14 Youth Conference. This is the 18th annual, so we have some planning after that. So you're welcome to stay and hang for the planning if you like.
All right.
In either way, you really, I hope that you'll be part of it because it's an event I treasure. We get about 400 to 500 young people walking through the doors within a three-hour span. So the outreach potential is for real.
Nice.
I think, so Sean, I think we should roll. Ornella's running a little bit behind, so I don't know. There's been some train snafus yesterday, today. The Q train is doing its own thing.
Okay.
So maybe, I don't know where she is, but we'll get rolling, and when she comes on, she comes on.
Okay, I'm going to hit record now, and then I'll let you take it away.
Okay.
Go
All right.
for it.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is the December meeting of the Subcommittee Youth Services, Education, and Libraries, Community Board 14. Welcome to all board members and other community members and guests that we have. Just like a little, I think we've been doing some new etiquette, ground rules, whatever you want to say, encouragement at the beginning of the meeting. So if you are a board member, it'd be nice if you could have your camera on through much of the meeting to help us create a more kind of connected environment so we learn, connect with each other. Mute your microphone when you're not speaking, obviously, and hopefully we have some good questions and participation for our guests and our agenda items, all of our agenda items. I think the agenda is online. I will post a link to it in the chat. So if you'd like to see the full agenda, do we have a chat? Yes, we do. There it is. So I'm going to put it in the chat. And I think we'll just start with our guests. So I want to welcome, how do I say your name, Mr.
Gavilan?
Gavilan?
Is it me? Are you looking at
Yes,
asking me?
you are first up, Gavilan. I read about your organization, and we previewed it at the last board meeting, and very, very grateful that you reached out to us and are going to share. So I'm going to give you the floor. Typically, we'll have you present, and I don't know if you'd like questions during, or would you like us to hold off until afterwards. We can do whichever way you'd like to do is fine with us. But I want to give you the floor and welcome you, and thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Eric. I guess I'll take questions at the end. But before I begin, I wanted to be clear on who our audience is. And I heard you say we've got some elected officials, right? Do we have service providers out there as well?
Well, right now, let me see, look at our participants list. So we have really community members from our district. So there's people elected to the community board who are here, who are subcommittee youth education members. This is also broadcast out, so our audience is beyond in our community as well. And just so you know, after this meeting, we will take our notes and present them to the full board meeting. All of our electeds, that come to our community board meetings, our council, state representatives, those people are usually at the full board meetings. And so we will have a report and talk about your visit to our committee. And if there's information you'd like us to pass along, we can also post it to our website and share it out at that meeting as well. You're also, of course, welcome to come to that meeting if you would like to as well. Sign up as a speaker, everybody. You can have 2 minutes as a speaker and come there to speak to the larger meeting as well. So you have some options, but that's your reach. And this will live on our website until, the solar apocalypse. So.
Oh boy.
A long time.
Okay.
You just mean a long time.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good. I don't know if we have any. Oh, sorry. I don't know if we have any unhoused or unstably housed people in the audience. I'm just trying to get an idea of who's out there because this is the way I created my presentation. So I don't know if I could just present it, as is, and we take whatever.
I don't know if there are, but there are people who work with organizations and have connections, and so certainly there are service providers or community leaders who are here and have connections to unhoused youth.
Yeah, alrighty. Well, I'm just gonna go forward and
great
pretend everyone's there.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Let's see. Looks like you can see my screen. All right. All righty. So before I guess I've sort of been introduced, but before I fully introduce myself and my organization, I just want to pose this question. So in the city with like ours, with so many resources, why is it so difficult for them to be found, for people to find them, to get what they need? Well, I've got some answers coming up. Let's see. All right. So now I'll talk about me. It won't all be about me though. So as I said, my name is Gavilan Longino. The accent is in there for those who could speak Spanish better than I can. Gavilan, that's what the accent goes. I'm a communication specialist and community information specialist with Street Lives. So what that means is I have lived experience as someone who has been homeless. So that's a requirement for the job. Street Lives is the organization I work for, and we have created Your Peer. So Street Lives is the organization, Your Peer is the product, and that's what I'm peddling today. So Street Lives empowers New York City's unhoused youth through community-driven digital tools like Your Peer, a mobile-first app designed to connect young people to trusted social services with thoroughly verified information. All right, that was kind of corporate speaky, but I think you get the idea. We'll make it a little more relatable in a moment. Have you ever played with a product or just you first get it and you go, it's frustrating. I could have designed a better product than this. Is there anyone out there? This wasn't a rhetorical question. I'd love to hear if anyone's out there who's got an experience like that. That's a short little story. Because I'm not going to be the only one talking. Any hands? Anybody? Go for it.
Every time I do our district needs statement for the Department of City Planning, I think I could have made a better platform to get the needs of this district across. My board members know that well because I complain about it annually.
That'll be our little secret. What I would typically ask of that is, this might not be, I'm going to say it because instead of asking, because of the situation, this could be a little sensitive if you were to answer this. So this question was really designed for those who are like the unhoused youth who've used products, or just anyone who's not within your organization, just so no one gets in trouble. So I would typically ask at that point, how does that make you feel about the organization that created that product? And I'd say, how does it make you feel in terms of trust? Do you trust them? No one has to answer that question. Just putting that out there. Because you know what we did? We had those who are going to be using the product actually help with designing the product. Novel idea, huh? So we really believe in empowering those who are most vulnerable, and so why not use they're going to be the ones using it, so why not just have them help us design it, right? We don't know what they need. Well, I have an idea because I have experience, but just as generically speaking, Street Lives doesn't know if they haven't had that experience, right? So these are just previews, but I'm going to give you a chance to actually play with the app in a moment. So after doing that, Your Peer has become a lifeline for youth, connecting youth to vital resources with dignity, autonomy, and trust. Right? The trust comes from the fact that they got to build it, and it's verified. The information is verified by people with lived experience, which I'll go over as well. Okay, so I just want to quickly go over how I planned on going through this, and I guess I'll just go through it according to this. So the idea is to go through, our first audience is the youth. So we've mostly covered them. After that, service providers. So anyone out there who has resources to share with people, I'm going to share with you how you can share with us. And then for local officials, how to amplify our impact, and also, of course, how that looks good on you. So very quickly, so youth 16 to 24, that's the age group that we focus on. They're very digital, very much in their phones. So that's why we decided to use that as a platform. Really, this is for anyone who's seeking low cost or free services, food, clothing, even shelter. Usually it's a short term, because long-term shelter is a long process. Medical, stuff like that. Okay. So bullet 2 is about, kind of answers that very first question. So a lot of resources, as a lot of providers know, the information is siloed, either purposely or just part of the system, because everyone's working independently as opposed to together. And we try to answer that. Also want to let anyone out there who might be using it that we don't store any information that's identifiable. We do record use, but we can't identify who is using it. This is an opportunity for everyone. If you have a phone, you can snap the QR code, or you can type in yourpeer.nyc. I'd love for everyone to go ahead and use that right now. So go ahead. When is there another time when you're in one of these meetings when you're allowed to be on your phone? So go for it. You do that, have fun, just poke around, and I'm going to continue. So let's move on to the service providers. So this helps your peer, it helps to reach more people. As I spoke about the silo, not everyone knows, maybe there's a lot of people who don't know about your services, but we are serving 2,700 distinct users every month now. And it goes up 15% every month, approximately, give or take. That's good news and bad news, as you can understand. So this is also valuable for those if your funding depends on how many people you serve, right? So we can get you more people in the door, maybe you can get more funding. The information, like I said, we verify by physically going to your organization, or making a phone call, or at least an email. So we don't just go online and say, oh, go to the website and just copy what's on there, because as you know, sometimes websites are not kept up to date. I can tell you, I got the Easy Pass still has a copyright date of like 2014, I think. So sometimes these things are not updated. So, but we do this every 6 months. We try to keep things up to date within 6 months. And we encourage you to stay connected with us so that we can keep that information up to date. And if you're so privy, please contact us at yourpeerpartner@streetlives.nyc, and just say, hey, I'd love for you to get our information on your app. Or if you see our information on there, maybe something needs to be changed, please let us know. We love being proactive. We love it when others are proactive. So please let us know. Okay. All right. And then for local officials, this is where it gets a little boring for those who don't like data. But if you love data, this is a little more, this might spice things up a little bit. So we have heat maps. This shows where people are looking when they look for things, what they're looking for, where they are finding what they're looking for, and some other things. And we'll take a little look at that shortly. So this obviously gives you the ability to leverage that data for better planning. So you can see where there's a need, or maybe you're over providing, and you can call back. And the last bullet is trying to be we're just asking for money, basically, just like everybody else. So would you consider if you have funding, if there's funding or grants that we can apply for, please let us know. You can contact, I'll give you contact information at the end. So as I said, we have a heat map. I have conveniently selected CB14. I don't know how, I don't know why. So this shows that where someone was looking when they're looking for their resources. And the other side on the right, it shows where they found what they were looking for. So what I found interesting was that in CB18 and 6, there's a very high need, or rather that's where they found what they're looking for. So those districts have what those searchers were looking for. To find out exactly what they are, we can do that. But this particular map was just to show where they're looking, not what they're looking for. But we can dig deeper. So if you're interested, let us know, and we'll work on that. We'll show you. So what I'd love for our officials, and really for everybody, is to share your peer with your constituents, with your friends, with anybody, colleagues, anyone who can use it, or anyone who might be connected with people who could use it. Also, as I said, we'd love to learn about funding opportunities so we can expand our tools and expand our capacity so we can get more information. There's so much information still out there for us to get, and we want to be able to have the capacity to do that. If you didn't get it the first time, there's a QR code. And just wanted to say, this is what your peer does. It gives vital resources to those who are searching with dignity, autonomy, and trust. Almost done. I know it might be a little long. Just a recap of what I'd love for everyone to do. Youth, please download the app. By download, I mean save it to your desktop or your home screen. That way you can interact with it like an app. You don't have to go manually typing in yourpeer.nyc. It'll just be there. Please use it and please share it. Service providers, please contact us at yourpeerpartner@streetlives.nyc so that we can get your information, so we can keep information up to date. And also please share it with caseworkers and your clients. And for elected officials, please promote your peer among your constituents and consider funding Street Lives to advance this vital work. So in conclusion, when young people helped us design your peer, they created a product that truly empowers them. Together, we can ensure that New York City's youth have the dignity, autonomy, and support they need to thrive. And thank you. I've talked enough, right? So you've got information up there. You can contact me. That's my contact information there at the bottom, however you want to do it. Streetlives.nyc. So if you want to go to our homepage and learn more about us, there you have it. And that's it. I saw a hand up. Let's see. So I'll let maybe Eric decide
Sure.
who goes.
Yeah, sure.
That way.
I'm trying to see where the hand is. I don't see the hand. Do you see the hand, Sean?
I can jump in. Yeah.
Oh, I see
Chris,
Florencia.
yeah, Chris and Florencia both have hands up.
Okay, Florencia and then Chris. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Gavilan, for that presentation. I'm just a little bit curious to know what kind of resource was being searched for in CB14, but was found in 6 and 8.
Right. That's why I put that there. It's if you'd like to know, let's have a conversation. I didn't actually dig deeper to find out exactly what that was, but we do have the ability to find that out. I didn't actually do it because I don't know. Why didn't I? Oh, that's right, because I wanted to tease a little bit, but we can actually find that out. So if you will, you can go ahead and have my contact information. If you want to contact me, just send that question in and I'll see if I can get that for you. And I'll show you a copy of the map as well.
Okay, thank you. God, I just wanted to know so that, Sean, one of our biggest advocates can,
Absolutely.
Uh,
If you will, yeah, if you can send that email, send me an email for of that question, just as a
Okay.
reminder to go search it, and so I can contact you.
Okay.
Please do, and then you'll have that information.
Okay, no
Well,
problem.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Next.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, good night. My name is Carissa. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was very insightful. I'm glad that this is a resource that's out there. I was going through the app and I saw that there's a quick exit button in the corner. I think that's very clever because thinking of the, keeping dignity being that's something that you guys value, somebody who's going through these resources may need to exit off of this page because they want to keep their dignity intact. They don't want somebody else to know. So I really appreciate that. That's so clever.
Sure.
But I
It's
have
also
a
there.
question, but
I'm sorry, I just want to interject. The other reason why it's there is for DV, in case someone is in the same room and they're looking for resources and they don't want that person to see what they're up to if they're looking for help.
that is so smart.
So yeah,
That is so smart.
sorry to interrupt.
I love that. No, that's fine. That's okay. So you said that your target is the unhoused youth ages 16 to 24.
Yes.
So my question is, how are you reaching the youth? Like, what are your marketing efforts? How are you getting this out there so that they could know that this is something that's available to them?
Sure. Yeah, their social media, we've got that out there. We have ads, which are actually very effective, surprisingly so. I never look at ads, but apparently they work. So the targeted ads, keywords, we're getting, in fact, that's where we're getting most of our audience from, if you will. That's actually from targeted ads. Other than that, it's we're going to drop-in centers, doing all sorts of demonstrations, tabling, whatever is out there, you name it, we're doing it. So
Are you doing like presentations in schools
that
and
is
stuff like that?
actually
Like assemblies?
that's actually something we're working on. We just spoke with someone, one of our consultants that has a connection. Can't give too much information, but we are working on doing that. Yeah, that's actually a good idea, and I'm actually glad that you say that because that just confirms that this is a good idea. If someone else says it, then yeah. So yes, we are
Yeah,
working on that.
is. Yeah, you have to meet them where they're at,
Absolutely.
And I would say, I know you didn't ask for suggestions, but
No, please, no, please. Yeah.
full of ideas at all times. If you have the same young people that helped you to create the app, I'm sure there are people who are interested in like content creation and all the things. Embrace that. Embrace TikTok. Have them, do the things, skits and whatnot, so that they could use that as a channel, as an avenue to reach out to more young people. Because the TikToks, they going crazy for that right now. So
Absolutely.
so thank you again.
Yeah. That did remind me of something. To remember, you were saying, about the schools. Loosely, I have gone to little schools and handed out flyers as well as and spoken to counselors and say, hey, you have these, if you spot any children who look like they might be in need of some extra services, please, take these, hand it to them, or to their parents or their caregivers. Yes, so that was just something that popped in my head when you're talking about schools. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Anyone else?
Yeah, if I could jump in to add that sort of to piggyback on both Florencia and Chris's questions and comments. Certainly, I look forward, Gavilan, to working with you to bring you into our youth conference because I think that's an awesome networking opportunity, both with the youth who attend that and the 60 to 70 agencies, organizations, and job providers that attend as well. And then sort of along that same vein, our annual nonprofit roundtable will take place in the spring. But in the meantime, I'll follow up on Florencia's question to you to find out which specific specific services people searched for in 14 and went off to 6 and 18 to obtain. And if there are organizations, or if we can put the word out that those services are needed, and see if there's organizations in our district that should be on your map that are not on your map. And I see a lot of them are AMCW, COPO, Kojawala on the map, but let's make sure we're not missing anybody. So those specifics would be helpful. And then I imagine that you're also on the link NYC, because that seems like an excellent place for unhoused youth to sort of see the code and link into that there.
We tried. Yeah, we
Ergo
tried.
its name.
Yeah.
And then certainly we can help with schools. And I think Eric can help think through schools where that would be receptive. So let's keep those conversations going. I have a question as well, though, which is I'm not sure if I understand what your relationship is to the city of New York. Do you come out of a city agency? Oh, sorry. Before you answer that, I have one more thought, and that is our January 22nd Human Service Committee meeting is going to host Norman Siegel and his street homeless advocacy project group. And they've been having pretty interesting success with the street outreach that they do as volunteers, not as city, not using the breaking ground or city contractors. And this would be a wonderful resource as they engage with people who are unsheltered individuals, to be able to share with those who pop up in the appropriate age range. So let's make that connection ASAP.
Absolutely.
And then you're welcome to join us for that meeting. And then, sorry. And then my question, city agency, question mark.
Yeah, so we actually started back in 2015. Funding from Opportunity starts with a home, and they're not really running anymore. So that's where it started. So we are a nonprofit, not really connected with the city anymore. We were supposed to get some funding, that was some matched funding that would have been as much as $500,000, but due to issues with the current mayor's, you know what, that ended up, some of those things kind of stopped. So we were set to do, so those are the connections that we typically have with the city, the mayor's office. But other than that, funding comes from grant writing and other foundations and such like that. So
Okay.
not really, yeah.
Okay.
I hope that answered your question.
I just like the .nyc is what was probably what prompted the question, and I thought that there was, so actually in some ways that's a good thing. I know it presents challenges for you, but that's one of the things that I understand SHAP is having a lot more success, because the people they interact with often ask them, do you work for the city? And they say no. And that keeps the conversation going. And are you getting paid to do this? No, I'm a volunteer. Right. And that's been something that's been a way to open the door too. And I just thought that was interesting. So I asked. Yeah. Thanks.
Sure. Trying to, there was something, once again, ticked off something, and I'm trying to remember what that was. Yeah, well, that'll come to me. Yeah, definitely send me any information that you got. What was the other organization? He said, Norman Siegel. Is there anything with him that maybe we can work together somehow? I'd love to collaborate with.
I mean, maybe. I mean, ultimately, we're I'd like. He's going to present on how the volunteer groups work in the communities where they're already established, and explore the potential for that sort of volunteer street outreach cohort in CD14, and see where that goes. But no matter what, just having made the connection, I think, is valuable. And so I will share that value.
Okay, great. Any more hands?
Gavilan, I have a question and a comment as well. And also just thank you so much for your work and what you're doing. I find it very inspiring what you're working on.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask, my first question is, so if there are organizations, like I looked when I was looking at the app right now, and I was searching in our neighborhood, just like Sean, I noticed there was some, right by where I live, organizations and food pantries that are on your list, but there was one or two, one place that I noticed was not, that I know would definitely be on there. So I am not part of that organization. What is the process like if I want to connect you with them to add data, right? So I guess that's my question. What is the what do I do, or what would someone do to try to connect you and your app with the services?
So if it's a third party, like let's say like yourself, you don't work for that organization or with
Right.
them, you could just say, hey, I noticed this information. I noticed this organization, especially if an email or whatever contact information, just send it to us. It doesn't matter if it's unsolicited. You can send anyway, and we will contact them.
Great.
Even physically go there. If they don't want us to put them on there, that's their prerogative. And sometimes that happens. It's weird. And then if you, let's say you work for that organization, you wanted to share information, there's that your peer partners at Street Lives at NYC, or you can email me. Doesn't matter. Just you could, if you go to the website, you go to your peer or you go to Street Lives. There's contact information there, so you can contact us. Just it doesn't matter who you send it to. We're a small organization. We'll make sure it gets to the right place.
That's great. When I'm looking at, so I was looking at your, you guys are feedback driven on your app. So maybe I'll give you just a piece of feedback at the moment.
Yeah, go for it.
If I'm looking at, where it says contact us, and I clicked on contact us, it says if you have general questions, and then there's one if you're an organization or an individual working with us, maybe even in there put listing your services, because it didn't click with me. I was like, well, I'm not working with them, but if I'm interested in listing services, so maybe add that. But that's great, and I will send you information about an organization that I think you would connect with. And my other, just to speak to Sean's point about the schools, and I worked at a high school, and Ornella, the co-chair, is on, and she's a principal at a school. I mean, I guess my suggestion would be, reaching out to individually on website, what is the school principal or the school social worker, the school psychologist, usually if the school has a school psychologist. And if you're looking at high school age, if you have a template email and say, these are services we have, and you can make a connection to share that information. Social workers and psychologists are
Absolutely.
If they know that your app exists, and when they need services for their students who come in, and they can use it as well. So that might be a way, or maybe somebody through the DOE.
Yeah, we used to have someone who worked in the DOE, which so we've lost, unfortunately, a lot of contacts with DOE. We had connection through Link NYC. I wanted to bring up that Sean, you were talking about. We tried to get on there, but I believe the organization that runs it is in Australia or something like that. And it's hard to I think we've contacted them, and it just never goes anywhere. So that's been a headache as well. So also, before I forget, Sean, I think I remember what it was talking about. Was thinking you were talking about the .nyc part, and that being possibly it could confuse some or make them think that we're part of the city. Yeah, the choice to use NYC was just to focus on New York City itself. So it's supposed to signal that this is about New York City. But we have big plans to go nationwide. So it'll be something for every city. Maybe.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining.
Sure.
I have a quick question. In regards to, I'm thinking about like as you're reaching out to schools and starting to like spread the word, what does it look like when we say, how are we defining youth? Is that any age group? So like, can we reach out from elementary school all the way up to high school? Or is there like age restrictions for the services that are provided through the app?
Right. Good question. Yeah, when we say youth 16 to 24, that all that really means is that's the demographic that we focused on in terms of the app, and because also they're more vulnerable. You can go, it's really for anyone to use. We're trying to be careful about identifying or point, not identifying, but by saying any younger than 16, because at 16, 15 or 16, at least you could be emancipated. You know, it's a lot of legal stuff. We don't want to say 3-year-old can go on here. It's just more for legal reasons than anything. The other reason we had to create, everyone's got to have a niche, right? So it's 16 to 24. But again, anyone can use the app. However, there are age requirements or restrictions on certain services, and those are noted in when you search. It will tell you the age range that are served, and even young. It'll say everybody if it is minors under 16 as well, and so it's really anybody. It's just that the 16-24 is more of a niche thing for the market. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any more hands? Is that it? I think that.
Eric, are you,
Is that
if
it?
you're speaking, you're muted.
I was speaking and I was muted. Sorry about that. Gabriela, I don't
Yes.
see any other questions, but
Okay.
just so grateful for you coming and sharing. And it sounds like we'll be in touch, and there's some connections for January for you. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for being here.
Sure. No, thank you. I'll try to hang in there for a little bit.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I am
please.
going to turn off my screen because I'm hideous. No, I'm just but if there are any questions, I'll pop my screen on or something.
That's great. Thank you for
Thank you.
staying, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
How, Ornella, you got past the parade outside your house?
Yes, I did. Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry for my tardy.
It's okay. Welcome. Thanks. Welcome through. Not everybody gets to come home through a parade, so it's celebratory anyway. She's
I don't know
back.
if I wanted to go through a parade today. I wasn't planning for that one.
It's not a day for that. All right. So next on our agenda item, we have our prelim first planning meeting for the 18th annual youth conference. We thought maybe for those people who have not attended youth conference before, you talk a little bit about what it was and just a little overview, and then we can talk with Sean a little bit about needs and what we're doing in this prelim meeting here. But for those of you who don't know, the youth conference is an annual event put on by CB14, where local nonprofits, community organizations, city agencies come and have opportunities for the youth in our community. Internships, job placements. We've had mock interviews. We've had snacks, of course, and politicians, local officials come meet with the kids and are there and participate as well. Last year, I think we had over 70 organizations come. We met at the Flatbush YMCA. They are, I think, our partner again this year. There's been different locations, and the youth conference has moved around the district and through the pandemic back into the virtual world, and now back onto the ground. Last year, it poured rain, like unbelievable rain, on the day of the youth conference, and we were very concerned that it was going to stamp turnout, and it really did not. Very well attended. You'll see in the video. I think we'll show, if Sean, that you like that idea. we can show. We did a promo video last year that we'll be able to use, but it's only about 2.5 minutes. But you'll see the foot traffic, and it was really nice. And so we get lots of volunteers, from the community board, especially the day of, helping out direct traffic, signing people in. There's a bunch of jobs. And of course, we're going to need people for distributing flyers and posting them up around the district and spreading the word, pounding the pavement. So I was in the office today, and our contact list of organizations is about 800, but there's always some that are new and can come in. Like tonight, we have Street Lives. So there's always new organizations that have services that we're finding. I believe we contact over 350 schools, and our list, at least our old list, legacy list of parents and youth who've signed up is about 1,200 people. So that is our reach, and that is sort of the lay of the land for the conference as we're getting into gear. So that's it. We could maybe now is a good time, unless you want to add something, Ornella, Sean, or any other board member about the conference itself. Go ahead.
No, I think it was a good overview. If you want, I can try to go to the video, and then we can talk about sort of like the timeline of tasks.
Fantastic. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, bear with me because I host, so I don't usually share.
We have faith in you, Sean. You got this.
Can you see my screen?
No.
Then I
No,
don't.
Sean.
I have you listed as Susan Phillip.
No, Susan Phillip is on here, but
Really? Maybe
okay,
there's
hang
something
on.
good. If
It's
you make
making me it's making me open system preferences, and that is not a good sign. Let me try one more thing. Okay, I just put it in the link while while I look at system preferences, but maybe Ornella or Eric, if you can grab it out of the link, that might be
Let me
more
see.
expeditious.
If you want, do I have power to share my screen?
You
I
should.
got it.
You have it or no? Oh, great. All right. Go for it.
And I'll know for future reference to set my system preferences.
Can you guys see my screen? You
Yep.
too? All right, beautiful.
Carl Henry Cesar, first vice chair for Community Board 14 Brooklyn. And this wonderful thing that you see happening is the 17th annual youth conference celebrating the life of Dwayne Joseph. And basically, this is a wonderful, energetic mix of community organizations and families and students and more who are coming just to learn about the opportunities that we have available.
Flatbush Development Corporation is so happy to be here. We get to engage with the students, help them out with receiving summer camp, and also a placement to begin that early career, even mock interviews to start that journey early. So thank you guys so much. We can't wait to be at the next one.
My name is Sasha St. Just, and I was one of the interviewers for this mock interview at this youth conference. And I just have to say that I am so inspired and just engaged just to see our youth be passionate and dedicated and willing to improve on themselves, willing to improve on their future careers. To see these kids be passionate about their growth, be passionate about their need for improvement is just such a great and uplifting thing to see.
Hello, my name is Eric Ost. I'm the co-chair of the Youth Services, Education, and Libraries Committee. It's a fantastic turnout. As you can see, we have over 50 organizations local politicians, youth services, employment opportunities. It's fantastic.
Hi, it's Council Member Farrah Lewis representing the 45th Council District. So we're really excited to see that the youth came out today and have an opportunity to meet with our local nonprofits and businesses. And we are preparing our young people for the global economy. And this is how it starts.
We're here representing the Council of Jewish Organizations of Flatbush. We offer a multitude of social services. We are particularly interested in spreading the word about our summer youth employment program. And we hope that youth who are here today will take advantage and apply, and to go forward and to accomplish great things.
Good evening. I'm Reverend Kim Council, Deputy Borough President, here representing our Borough President, the Honorable Antonio Reynoso, at this wonderful fair that CB14 has put on. So if you're not here, you're missing it. You got to make sure that you come next year. It is full of young people getting a whole bunch of information that's going to help them to be successful. And that's what we're all about, spreading love the Brooklyn way.
All right, well, there it is. Obviously, everyone wants to go. They're batting down the doors to get in. So, Sean, you want to talk timeline? I know the one thing I did look up in terms of timeline was the DYCD. Is that the deadline for applications, which was nowhere to be found? I don't think it's posted yet.
No, I mean that's always been one of the tricky parts with having to schedule this, is we never know the DYCD deadline. We don't know when it's going to open, and then we don't know when it's going to close. But we have found it to be a pretty safe bet to do a sort of early to mid-March event. And I feel like we've got time starting tonight to look at March 11th, 12th, or 13th. That first, I think it's the first full week of March. No. We do have the YMCA as committed to host again. It's my favorite place to host because of the layout, that we're all in one room and that in the gym. It used to not be my favorite place because we used to have to set up our own tables, but they now have staff and they set them up for us. So, and this year our budget is a little bit tighter. We have less money from elected officials, and our payroll is higher. And so we're just sort of pushing up against budget. But the Y came down from their already super generous low price of last year, and they're going to accommodate us at an even lower price this year. And then we'll be looking for help on other things, like maybe some printing. Board members might have access to printing so that our printing costs can be lower, and we'll ask the food co-op to donate snacks. We go back and forth with them. Sometimes we pay, sometimes they donate. But as far as the timeline goes, I mean, I think we would send, I'll have to nail down with the Y whether it'd be, assuming this committee agrees, the 11th, 12th, or 13th, depending on their programming. Whether Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday is the least disruptive day to them, is the day that we will move forward. So if, we could do a quick check of dates with this committee to make sure it fits in with your availability, that would be helpful, so I can move forward with them. Then we'll send a save the date to the, what did you say, Eric? I didn't even realize we're up to our 800 community-based organizations, youth conference past participants, and elected officials who help spread the word. Then we get the invitations out, and we let the schools know early and often. And we usually get the word out through the school guidance counselors and parent coordinators. We do a mailing, we send a bunch of flyers with each mailing and the invite. But that happens, as soon as we have the date, we start getting those invitations out. And then we set up the Eventbrite and the website accordingly.
I was just browsing the NYC DOE calendar. Thursday, March 13th are after school and evening parent teacher conferences for middle schools and D75. So it's a little younger than our group, but sometimes our kids have younger siblings.
Yeah.
We don't want to limit parents' ability to do that. So maybe just in terms of a citywide school thing, that the 13th looks like you might pull parents
I put an X through it. I put an X through it. You're absolutely right. So that leaves the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th. I don't know. I mean, I didn't say the 10th more than once because I worry about Mondays, but maybe that's just me and my attitude about Mondays. Is Mondays fine for high school? If
Monday, I like a Wednesday personally.
Okay. All right. So we'll shoot for the Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll put it in this order. Our preference is Wednesday, Tuesday. And if it can't be on March 12th, we could look at the 19th as also a Wednesday.
Right. I mean, we have several people who are school directors here, right? Like Monday is sort of a lot of hustle going on, right? Just a lot of things happening.
Yeah, Mondays get really weird. I don't know what it is about a Monday, but it always becomes tricky.
Good. No, I like that answer because it comports with my own hesitancy on Mondays. Gavilan, did you have something on those dates or did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, actually, this is more personal. Self-serving, sorry. You're mentioning contacting school about this, which just made the idea come to me. Is it a good idea, or is that something I can do, is to contact
Yeah.
community boards to vouch for us, essentially, to spread the word to the schools within their district? Is that
Yeah, well, you and I can work on something if you want, you know, but, and it's on my list to to follow up with you to, if you want it to give you our list of, contacts at the schools that we reach out to.
Sure. Sure.
Also,
Yeah.
Gavilan, so I mean, most schools, they have a website and their principals' email address is on there, and principals are being contacted all the time. So, I mean,
Sure.
There's nothing that should prevent you from just directly reaching out to a principal and saying, this is what we have. Here's who we've worked with, and some of them will respond and some of them will not. But you should absolutely you shouldn't feel, I'm just like, maybe you don't, but you shouldn't hesitate to just reach directly out to the schools.
Sure.
You can do that, but just some pro advice coming from a principal. Don't email the principal. I would reach directly out to the main office and give like direct contact. Like get in contact with someone, an actual individual. Like from me, my email gets bombarded with people that I haven't even made like personal interaction with. So I suggest like getting on the phone and calling like the main office, or like emailing the secretary, or like a different individual in the office, and you're more likely to get in touch with the school that way.
Parent coordinator, maybe.
Our best luck, I think our best luck has been with the guidance counselors directly. The parent coordinators can be pretty key, but Gavilan, I think for your work, because we're talking about unsheltered youth, so the parent coordinator, the first word is parent.
Yes,
and so I think really your guidance counselors are key.
I agree.
And
I was going to say,
and Eric's right. You can find them, going school by school, but I have a prefabricated list, so you can do sort of one fell swoop, but that's pretty localized to us.
Sure.
The other thing I just want to make sure, because I think we should say this, in words instead of me just making an assumption. This is in memory to Dwayne Joseph. That's something that's ongoing in terms of the youth conference. That wasn't a one-off. Am I right?
I believe so.
That was my impression. Yeah.
Isn't there, I mean, his family still has a connection, certainly?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we'll continue the Memorial Dwayne Joseph Youth Conference, or the language that we used last year is the language that we'll continue to use with just the updates, 18th annual in 2025. Yeah?
That sounds good to me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then as far as board participation, once we have flyers to give out and posters to post and information to share and invitation to distribute, you really like an all hands on deck, so that it isn't so it's as light on the office as possible. And the same with, like, I guess the other thing to decide, not it doesn't have to be a final decision tonight, but you mentioned, Eric, mock interviews and whether we're doing those again. Have we put aside the idea of workshops forever because they really haven't been successful, or do we ever want to try to revitalize workshops? That I think, we want some discussion about. But if we do mock interviews, I want to really make sure that we have a lot of board participation in those mock interviews, because that's a bit of a last minute scramble, and I had to call upon friends and family to pitch in. And then it did bloom. It was great. But I really want board participation on those.
It would be much nicer to have a confirmed list so that it wasn't a hustle and a rush at the end, for sure. People came through, but I think we can do a good job making sure we have a good, complete list prior to.
Question in regards to timeline. We are in December now, and the year is pretty much over. When we get back, it is January, and if we're aiming for March, that time of the year moves really fast, at least in my opinion, the first quarter. So how do we want to go about in regards to like timeline for like confirming the date? I know you're going to connect with the YMCA, Sean, but then like maybe circling back on like backwards planning from that date to ensure that we kind of nothing falls short, like even just like confirming the list of mock interview people or like things like that.
Yeah, I can pull that from last year's files and just really put down hardcore dates, and we'll figure out where our next youth service committee meeting is, and then really nail that down on calendars. I'm not worried about how much time we have. Talking about this in December and getting the ball rolling before the year is over, at least in terms of pinning down the date, and then hitting the ground running in January. That's actually, I'd hate to say it, but it's frankly more time than we've had. There's been years where we've pulled it out in 6 weeks. So I feel comfortable with where we're starting this year.
Carissa, is that a hand?
Is this the part where I could give all of my bright ideas? Okay. Are you ready? Well, I just have to preface this by saying that I am a creative consultant and a brand strategist, so this is my thing. So, knowing what I know about children, the youth, and what I've heard from many of my colleagues who are educators, I also work in a school, so I have experiences for myself. I feel like there are many things that we can do to help them find jobs, but we also need to really emphasize like certain life skills and personal care, personal hygiene specifically. So I've heard a lot from my colleagues saying that the youth may need some assistance with that. So I'm thinking if we can offer, if we could get some of the local, businesses in the area, local barbers to maybe do some haircuts, some hairstylists to do tutorials on how to do hair upkeep, natural hair tutorials, especially if a large percentage of our demographic are Black children. Also giving away sanitary napkins, pads, tampons to the young women, giving away brushes and deodorant in a little bag. If we have the budget, if we have people to sponsor these things. Also, we may have a percentage of that sorry, I'm going a mile a minute. Are we still here? We're good? Okay, good. Also there may be a small or whatever percentage of the young people who may be interested in starting their own small businesses. So even having like a small business hangout where we have some local small business owners can come and give advice to the young people who would like to do that. And then is there a DJ? We can have a DJ. Some kind of grand giveaway, tie it into good grades or something, good attendance, show your attendance or something, what have you. A career chat, but include uncommon jobs, quote unquote. So not just your lawyer, your doctor, but have somebody who's an electrician, a plumber, a contractor, some entrepreneurs, people in the fashion industry, educators. And then lastly, maybe might be out of the water here, might be out of the blue, maybe get an artist that is from the area, who's familiar, who's around that age group, and that is it. Thank you. Please, thoughts?
All great ideas, and some of them we do have already. We certainly have trades, and we have what's the name of that group? It's such a good name. I should be able to think about it, but it's untraditional, like untraditional jobs for women is one of the ones. And anything in terms of soliciting for, you know, giveaways, the office isn't going to do that. So it's not that it's a fine idea, but we can't do it from the city office. So if board members want to sort of split off and try to get that aspect together, open to it, but not going to step up to the plate on it. But I love the haircuts, if we can accommodate that in the Y. We have done small business workshops, you know, trading how to start a business, entrepreneurial sort of workshops before. And I'd love to think about bringing in local artists. Actually, somebody even jumped into mind already. So I can work with the group that works with FDC who's done the murals in the area.
Wonderful. I meant musical artists.
If you have contact suggestions, you know, let us know.
I can work my magic. Thank you.
Other comments, suggestions?
Yeah, I wanted to make a quick comment regarding the idea about setting up just like talking about, you know, what to wear to the interview and things like that. Maybe instead of, you know, giving away stuff, we can maybe have a table, and I mean, like one of the members or one of the volunteers who can have like a little online presentation about like the dress code for the interview. So maybe not necessarily give away stuff, which is complicated, but also obviously very helpful, but hard to sometimes put together. But just have like, you know, what is an interview look supposed to be like, you know, what is appropriate, what is not, and like in a very teen friendly manner, sort of, so it's not pushy. No. I can't hear.
And I think you're muted.
We have had that before. Dress for Success has joined us, and they have like a teen version of Dress for Success. They even did a sort of fashion show, and that's how we found out that the young person who sort of like won the fashion show and ended up speaking to peers actually had come all the way down from the Bronx. So that's an idea that we can make sure comes to fruition this year again.
I just wanted to say that Florencia has had their hand up for a while. Just wanted to recognize them.
Thank you. Good night again. There was something, and now that thought is gone. However, what I wanted to say is, Sean, I met a young lady at an event recently, and I don't remember the organization she's with. However, she does give away hygiene kits. So if she's invited to be a part of you know how they do tabling, then it will just be there for them. And there is another person, Nadia Aristide, that currently she's doing free financial literacy classes. So I don't know, maybe also if she's invited, that maybe, you know, their organization can provide that. Or if they're doing workshops, if they bring back workshops, not saying to do it, but I'm just saying that may be like an overall.
Yeah, just give me the contact information for everybody.
I will. I'm going to pass them on.
I know you're good at that. I know you are. And then Nina's hand has also been up.
Hi, good evening. I've been dealing with a refrigerator crisis, so anyhow, yeah, fun times. Um, so I was thinking, Target has their whole Target Circle thing. Might be worth approaching them. We have a big local Target. I don't know, but it's
No,
worth a
Nina,
try.
we have 2 local Targets, and only 1 year they've come. They are horrible about their commitment to community is something that they can say out loud with words, but I've never seen them bring it into action in a meaningful. I'll still try, and I'll work with our bid directors to get to the right people at Target, but shame on them. But we'll try again.
The other place is TJ Maxx seems to have more of a community bent, and they actually send their workers and pay their workers to volunteer for different things. Just a thought.
No,
But pivoting a little bit away from the personal hygiene issue, I'm thinking, computers, AI, programming, other things in computer tech stuff, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah,
who
we've
would
got a
know.
lot of, we have a lot of organizations that come to and offer those services, training, jobs, Girls Who Code, Black Girls Who Code, Codes Are Us. We've got the coders, and then we've got other tech people, but we will make sure we bring them back.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sean, if I may, what I wanted to say, and it came back. Remember when we were at LaFrac? That year, you had organized with the community board members to be interviewers and to commit, and that went well. So maybe we can revisit that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, please do. I think it's a great way for board members to be involved in this event. I remember Sasha was great at getting people into the interviews. She was like, that way.
I was really trying to force them, like, in a, again, appropriate way. I don't know if anybody had their hand up, but I quickly wanted to suggest, I don't know how realistic this is, but I did notice at the fair, that was my first fair last year, that many organizations bring multiple people with them. And so what if whoever signs up, what if we ask one of those people to be at the interview, to sign up to do the interview? Like the fire department had 4 people there, maybe 2 people can do the table, and then 2 people can do the interviews and talk about like how it's like to get into the city jobs, or potentially work up their way to that application, or at least like walk through some of the, what's the job like, or the co-op had also like 5 people there, one of them maybe can sit in and do the interview for the co-op, or and so on and so on.
Yeah.
I don't know
We
if
don't
that's
always know
possible.
that they're bringing that many people till they show up with that many people, and the opportunity to participate in the mock interviews. And in the past, when there have been workshops, the opportunity to present at a workshop is all in the community-based organization sign-up sheet. Bye, Gavilan, thank you. But maybe there's a way, I don't know, to make it more front and center, or to, as you're suggesting, say, if you're planning on attending with more than 2 representatives from your group, please consider sparing one for 45 minutes to do mock interviews, or something a little more.
Yeah,
Not, hey, would you like to, but yeah, but could you please?
Yeah, I think that would be, I mean, if that's a possibility based on your experience, obviously, like, I think that would be great. And also I think, isn't it in the organization's interest to kind of enter, maybe they'll, be interested in someone, and the kids are going to be interested. And so that could be, a potential win-win for, people who are looking for volunteers, employees, or youth, SYP and so on.
Yeah, let me tell you how I'm hearing this a little bit. I'm hearing this as maybe a suggestion that we do maybe a separate appeal to the community-based, after they've RSVP'd, do a follow-up. Thank you for your interest in participating in the youth conference this year. Would you also consider spending some time in the mock interview room, so that it's just
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, and then based on their response, we could see how many volunteers we need on our end and like how many people we need from the board so that we're more prepared and also, you know,
Right.
we don't, yeah. So
But
it's
I
kind of
mean,
like
you know, there's 50,
communal effort.
there are
Mhm.
50 of you. So I would like to think that board members could be filling in. I mean,
Oh, no, I'm
you know,
happy to
that,
do
that,
it.
the, that the groups can be filling in
yeah.
for board members instead of board members filling in for the groups.
Yeah. No, I mean, it could be, we could split it, like, we can leave out maybe 15 spots for the organizations and the rest could be all us, you
Yeah.
know? Just so that, because
Um,
there might be maybe organizations that might be actually interested in, you know, doing some of these interviews as part of their thing. Yeah. I'm
yeah,
down
we'll
to help.
highlight it this year for I think that's a good idea.
Quick question, Sean. Sasha just brought up a good point. What is the amount of individuals we need for the mock interviews? Like, do we have a count?
I mean, we don't really have a set number. I'm going to just throw out the number 10 because I think it's a good number. You know, as Sasha mentioned, you know, we had to actually kind of guide people into the room for the mock interviews. But there have been times when we've had 10, 15 interviewers, like when the last time we had it at Brooklyn College, and then there were young people kind of waiting their turn and sitting in a chair and patiently waiting. And then there's times where you've got interviewers twiddling their thumbs because there aren't enough young people sitting down for them. So sometimes it's just a matter of time of the event. Like in the beginning, it's very slow. Toward the end, you can't get them out of the room. But I'm just going to say the number 10, not because it's totally arbitrary, but I think that's kind of a number that's worked for us in the past. But remember, it's 3 hours. So I mean 10 people in that room at every given moment. And some people stayed for the whole 3 hours, but most didn't. Most are doing an hour or so.
And maybe you could switch out.
Yeah. Tag out somebody who's like, you know, board members who are kind of doing the welcome thing might want to get off their feet for 45 minutes and go do a few interviews and then come back to being on their feet or, you know, whatever. So maybe that's another thing we can do for board members is sort of make sure the assignments aren't, you know, that people can sort of rove in the assignment of the day. If you're a greeter, but then you want to go do a mock interview and then you want to go help, you know, staff up the snack table, you know, you can do more than one thing.
I would also put out there we always get a few of the local officials who end up doing some interviews or spending some time, and that ends up being, I don't know how much you get those commitments ahead of time or if they get there and we're encouraged and they end up spending a lot of time doing that because it's fun. But yeah, maybe a similar email following up when they confirm, or you know, they might have more appeal than me.
Maybe that video can work too to kind of get to pique the interest of some of our electeds too. We'll send that out with the well, let me say I'm going to ask the staff to figure out how to best use that as our marketing tool to pique their interest.
Yeah. Yeah, you should absolutely embed. I'm sure they will, like, embed the YouTube link to the as you know, as like a little preview. I mean, that's part of why it was designed, you know, so
Yeah.
that it could be, you know, so people could see what it is that we're asking them to come to. But it absolutely works for the politicians. I feel like the
Do we need
deputy
to do
mayor
a
at the
new one
end.
this year? Should we budget that in?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, other people are nodding yes.
Yeah.
So maybe there's different opinions.
We live in the world of
I was-
content. Definitely.
Yeah, I didn't have my hand up, but I just I actually was thinking if there's a way. I really like the video, but I noticed that there are no comments from the kids themselves.
We
So
couldn't do that because we don't get permission slips.
oh, yeah. Is there any way to like maybe find 2 or 3 kids
You
in
got it on the
advance
spot.
that we can like?
I'm sorry.
I
we
think
can
we
make-
were trying to pull out like kids who are 18.
Can they
Or
write like on
Find it on the spot. Like you can ask them if they consent, obviously with the parent, and then have
If
them
the
sign.
If they're not there with their parents.
Some come with their parents, Sean, maybe those.
Okay. What if we add it to the Eventbrite?
Because we haven't wanted parental consent to be a barrier to entry. And I think there was a problem with the Eventbrite that you can't authenticate that the parent is the one signing off on it. I mean, we have explored it before, and I don't know if I'm giving you the exact right answer, but it was something like that. But if you're right, I mean, there are people who are there with the parents, so we could just cherry pick them out and get the parents to sign a consent.
Yeah,
I'll
I was
just
gonna.
say,
Oh, sorry, Eric.
go ahead, Sasha.
No, I was gonna say because I was doing the greeting, and so I did see actually a lot of parents came. I mean, a lot of kids came with their parents. Not like all of them, but I would say 30% were with their parents or an older sibling who's an adult or like a grandparent. And I've seen a lot of chaperones with their kids. So like we can maybe pull them aside and see like if they feel comfortable giving a little interview and then include them together, if that's an option. That's the only comment. Otherwise, the video is great. I like it.
I remember in the conversation, so Mark, who does the sound at the meetings and also organized the video as well, is well versed in the legal ramifications and rules around consent and filming in general. So I think he did try to get some kids and their parents to do a video, and he just couldn't get yeses. He was circulating around. I believe he did try with a consent form to have a parent and their child. So I feel like it's possible, but you can't do like a blanket thing where you interview kids. Like you do require consent, and there is no blanket consent once they come in the door. The way we were doing the video, that was not going to be legally feasible. So anyway, that was my recollection of last year.
If he needs support with getting parent consent, I am a specialist at getting parents to consent, so I can support him with doing that in the moment.
Yeah, Nina.
Yeah, you don't even need to do that. I mean, let's be a little tech savvy here. There are ways of doing captions, and it can be done like in the little cartoon, quote things that they use in cartoons, or it could just be like a banner across the bottom where you just quote somebody, but it turns into script, and it doesn't have to have a name. It doesn't have to have a picture, or it could just have, an initial or first name or something like that. And that's it. And then you can have some comments, just, 1 or 2 sentence, 3 sentence comments. So it's, and that, eliminates any of the concerns about identification and consents and all that other stuff. Just a thought.
Sean, I remembered at Brooklyn College, when we were at Brooklyn College before we went to the Y, do you remember, I don't know who was interviewing them, if it was an elected official or if it was it Sarah but the thing is, there was a parent there that gave his son permission to speak. It was a little boy, and I remember him sharing his opinion on the whole event. I can't remember who he was speaking to.
We weren't filming that. We weren't recording that one.
Oh, okay.
There was a member of I think maybe there was press there. That's what it was. There was
Yeah,
press.
but I remember him speaking. He gave his son permission. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a reporter like News 12 or something.
Yes, or something.
Yeah. Well, I think this is enough to get the wheels turning and move us forward, and then we just have to figure out if you want a like a late January meeting, we could even pop you in the last week of January. Most of the January calendar is set, but I think that we should have a lot already mailed out by then. And then it's really organizing through February to get flyers out and all of that stuff. Does that sound okay? I'm open to you saying no and saying what sounds better.
I like late January, but I will go with the majority because, like you said, Sean, we have pulled it off in less time. So,
I mean, that's not when we're going to get started. By late January, we will have already done all of the outreach to the schools, the save the dates. We'll have the community-based organizations will have their save the dates. We will already have the RSVP, like the Eventbrite or whatever brand we use, up and ready to go. I mean, so that will be, I'm not saying we're going to wait that long to get started. That will be a status report from the work that the office does, and then a all hands on deck, sign up everybody for the outreach that needs to take place, the follow-up that needs to take place, and then the day of volunteering. So there could be like a January 30th meeting, and then also a February meeting, which would be the last planning meeting before the March, let's just call it, because we want it to be, we'll put it out in the universe, the March 12th youth conference. So February 30th, I'm sorry, January 30th, February, the last week of February, and then we're all systems go March 12th. Committee co-chairs, does that sound like?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. So we will get you on the January, and then I'll see if do you want me to try to pick up another presenter for the January 30th meeting, or do you want it to be only about the youth conference?
I think if we can pull another presenter, unless we're going to have a second meeting, like a working meeting in February. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I personally would, if we have somebody great and somebody of interest, then I would want to host somebody if we could.
Okay, I'll try to get somebody who makes a good segue with the.
Yeah, I mean, like tonight, somebody who obviously, I mean, it actually is probably a good connect, with the youth conference coming up, to have somebody who's involved in youth services.
You know what? Yeah, I'll look at some of our youth conference participants from the past, the ones who've been like lively and engaged participants. And then that way we can get whatever update on their programs they have to offer. But then we can also hear from a participant and get some planning perspective through the lens of somebody who comes and sits at a table 3 hours a day, for once a year with us.
I really like that idea, and be able to pick their brain for ideas, even whatever is happening in the planning meeting. That could be a segue, but that sounds like a great idea, having somebody topically that also has experience.
All right, cool. We might have to do a calendar update because the January calendar had to go out. Honestly, I don't know if it did today. I have to double check with the office, but I'm saying this out loud because if you see the January calendar and the January 30th meeting isn't on it, it's going to be as soon as we can get it updated based on this conversation.
No emails went out.
Yeah. Don't panic. Don't.
SOS. Unless there's other comment, I open it. If there's other comments or questions, I think we're nearing the 8 o'clock hour, and looks like we could probably tie the bow on this one. Youth services, libraries, wish everybody happy holidays.
Don't forget education, Eric.
I was getting there. I was. I know there's always three. It's like we just live education.
You didn't want to steal your thunder, Ornella.
Yeah. This is a call and response. And Ornella.
Education. Got you.
That's very good. That's teamwork, dream work. Just thanks everybody for being here and contributing, and we wish everybody happy, healthy break, and especially all the educators. Restorative, get your mind right for the January, but enjoy your family and your time off. I know as an educator, man, I look forward to this. It's usually a very fun last week, and then it's very nice to have a good break. So I wish all the educators a restorative break. Anything else, co-chair?
No, just forever thankful for sharing space with you all tonight. And I'm looking forward to the actual event. Like, thank you guys for being part of the initial planning and spending time with us tonight.
Thank you all.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, happy holidays.
Holidays.